catching out in the bay, and then they're going to ask questions about redfish, because that redfish tournament's coming up.
All right.
It's all yours, bud. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. I guess the easiest way this is going to go is, just keep an open forum, ask questions along the way, and we'll just have a good conversation. But, while we're on the health thing, if anybody's looking to lose weight real quick, just go fishing out here right now. You'll lose like 10 pounds of water. That's what I'm doing. So, but it's August. Fishing's good first thing. Redfish bite's been good early. As long as you got a little bit of moving water, but you don't want to overstuff your wells. If you're using live bait, I don't know how many artificial guys and live bait guys we have in here. What do you guys mostly do? Artificial. So, well, you don't have to worry about your bait. What's that?
Live bait.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. If I'm out there just fishing and having a good time, I'm throwing artificials just because that's what I've grown up doing. But, same thing. Throwing artificials this time of year, you don't want to work it too quick just because fish aren't moving that quick. They're just as hot as we are in 88, 89 degrees of water, which that flat's at right now. It's just bearable.
What kind of artificial?
I like a soft plastic. I mean, really, it's hard to get away with top water this time of year. There's just so much grass on top. I mean, you can work it for a little while, but most time you just get frustrated, tossing that hard plastic around, pulling weeds off. But usually, I like a little paddle tail that I can, just slowly hit potholes or put in front of the school, and just slowly work it. If you cover flat enough, especially out here in the middle where you got good moving water all down the Southshore, it's been really productive. So, you looking for particular plastic?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you fish with plastic much?
Sometimes, yeah, but we try to figure out. We haven't really figured out what plastics really work yet, and we have trouble getting live baits. So, we're kind of in that.
Is it well, I mean, really it's trial and error. I mean, obviously, Love Lures here has got some good plastics. But, I mean, there's a lot of good plastics. The color, you can't go wrong with white. Sometimes this time of year when the water's a little dirtier, something with some speckle in it that'll catch the fish's eye. And it's just really, just working. I mean, sometimes you'll make, 500,000 casts. You will. I mean, you go home and want a massage because your shoulder blades are tired. But that's the way you just got to cover ground, and that's the best way to find fish and find new areas. Is just get out there and work a flat. You'll know what's productive. If you look around and you don't see bait on that flat, pinfish, your white bait, mullet, I'd move to another flat. I mean, if there's no bait there, fish aren't going to be there. So definitely look for good passes or good water flow, and then I like patchy grass with sand holes in it, and then it's just make long casts so you can work a big area, and then it's just a up down, twitch. Sometimes if you're using paddle tail, it's just a slow retreat because the paddle tail is doing the work for you. So it really just it's something you're gonna have to get used to and trial and error. You'll find out what works for you. I always have different stuff. And once you find which one works the best, stick with it. I mean, until it quits working. That's what I do. So,
what is the best color of plastic right now, do you think, in your opinion?
I'm using if I'm using a plastic, I'm using like a green with a little gold speck in it. So, any green, camo, sapphire, that's when I'm out just covering areas. I mean, I haven't been working plastics that much lately, just because it's, You know, if I'm not on a charter, I'm not really on the water. But I'm on a charter every day, so it seems like it's too hot.
You use live bait a lot?
Oh, I do, just because it's easier for, a lot of my clients aren't experienced fishermen. You know, if they request to do artificial, of course I'll do it. But the majority of the clients, you know, it's just easier for them to hook up with whether we're using live bait or cut bait to that effect. So yeah, mostly I do. Yes.
What about gold spoons?
Yeah, gold spoons are always a go-to. Can't go wrong there. Gold spoon catches everything. So, I mean, catch snook, catch trout, catch redfish, ladyfish, well, whatever you want, gold spoon. You know, that gold spoon you can work at a pretty good pace this time of year.
Plus you can throw it a while.
Yeah. Do you, you put a swivel on yours?
Yeah,
Okay.
snaps with.
Yeah, that way it doesn't spin up your line. So, that's
Is that
always
a
good.
fast retrieve then? I mean, are you,
Yeah, it's a fast retrieve on that gold spoon. Just enough to get on top of that grass line. They'll chase it down. A lot of the redfish that I've seen come in now, they're pretty big. So when they decide to turn on it, and they're going to come after it because they're eating some pretty monster baits. The live baits we've been throwing out have been pigs. So I don't see a problem working fast. In the wintertime, obviously, as slow as you can get it, the better. You know, once that water cools down, because they're not going to chase it either. You know, they start getting lethargic. But redfish do well year round here.
This time of year, what is your ideal fish time? Because I know once that sun gets up, you pretty much cut it off because it's like.
Well, I mean, it just, you change your strategy. You change what you fish for. You know, I'll start off early fishing the flats. You know, maybe by 9:30, 10, I'm off that flat. Just because even now, at, 8 o'clock in the morning, it's upper 80s.
Yeah.
So then for me, I'm using live bait because I have clients. You know, that bait's struggling to even breathe. So, once I see that bait's having difficulty, I know the fish are gonna get uncomfortable, and I try to get off pretty much the flat or change to cut bait. So, for the redfish, just soak some cut baits, be patient. You know the fish are there, they'll come to it. And then after that, I'll just start moving deeper. I mean, Lee and I were out the other day. How far did we find those fish? Probably 200-300 yards offshore. So, I mean, they're not like offshore in the Gulf,
Right.
but off the shoreline. You start moving, you'll see that wake because they're trying to get into that deeper, cooler water.
What's the ideal depth typically?
I mean, the best luck has been, on the higher tide.
Foot lately.
Yeah. Well, if you get in there early, you'll see it. They're so big. I mean, the fish you got a 37-incher the other day, so I mean they're tailing. You can't help but have their tails out. It almost looks like winter, when they're just sitting there. So throw a cut bait into that. But you start early in that shallow, and then as it gets hotter, just move out with them. You just watch what they do, and sometimes it's good to take a day. I know not everybody has time to, everybody wants to get out there and fish, but if you want to be productive, get out there because a lot of redfish will always pattern. They'll do the same thing day after day after day until, everybody starts wearing on them, and then they'll start splitting up into smaller schools. But if you can see what they'll do, your fishing will be so much more productive because you'll know that at this time these fish are usually going to start moving here. So you can get over there to those fish before, a ton of people get there, and they'll come right to you. So.
Are you putting weight on the cut bait?
You don't really need to. It's big enough. I mean, either pinfish or some big thread fins or white bait. Thread fins are pretty much on every marker out here, and that's probably been one of the better productive cut baits is thread fins. So, and then as the day moves on, like I said, because I have clients and a lot of people want food, so mangrove snappers everywhere this year. I mean, it was pretty good last year, but this year is back the way it used to be. Back in the day, I mean, it doesn't matter where you go, you're catching a nice mangrove snapper, and that's one of the best eating fish out there to me. So, yeah.
I'm going out for mangrove snapper tomorrow, so they're pretty much everywhere, huh? Find
Well,
structure
yeah, I mean,
around.
find some structure,
The numbers.
Where are you fishing at?
I haven't decided.
I
I'm
mean,
working on that
most bridges, most
Yeah.
structure, you know, a lot of the, you know, the 4-post mark, you're going out in the boat, obviously.
Yep, oh yeah.
A lot of 4-post markers, you know, if you get around these 4-post markers and look at your machine, there's usually some pretty good live bottom. And just start cutting up some bait if you're gonna use white bait. You know, cut it up and you'll see them rise off that bottom. And then just use a Carolina rig. You know, or, you know, I've rigged one Carolina rig, one knocker rig. See which one's getting more bites.
Right.
But, you know, use a number 1 hook and as light as lead as you can get away with as the tide allows. So, you know,
Looking forward to it.
yeah, it's good. You should have a good day. Especially a lot of these spoil islands too, right here in front of the kitchen. You know, they've always been productive for snappers, so might want to give that a shot if you're putting in down here.
Yep. Yeah.
One of the recent meetings, they were talking about freezing baits earlier in the year. I went out a couple weeks ago, got a bunch of greenbacks frozen. Does that work really good for the snapper? Leave it frozen for a while, cut them up, put them in, or?
I mean, it's good to get them active.
Okay.
I wouldn't use it as my bait. I mean, usually if you freeze it, unless you like vacuum seal it, it's gonna get too soft on you. So, have you used it since you froze it?
We went out once, but unfortunately one of the kids that were on the boat got sick, so we came in. We started chumming, we were about 10 minutes into it, yeah, so.
The thing is, that those fish get used to, like, you may catch a few, but then that's when you want to mix it up. I mean, either have shrimp, have, you know, some live white bait, but everything we've been doing well on is, you know, pretty much from that fry bait to, you know, your index finger on the sides of the white bait, and I mean that's everywhere right now. Just use your 1/4-inch net and net it.
Exactly, I have a ton of it in the freezer, so use that to chum them up and then use live.
Yeah, I wouldn't chum. If you find fish, fish them first.
Okay.
You know, as it slows down, start chumming because you don't want to fill them up. You know, if you start seeing you get a bunch of small ones, start chumming. Then you know once you weed through those smaller ones, you'll get the bigger ones move in, and then so I would don't put them directly on ice. Put them in your live well. You know, let them live so you can cull them. I mean, there's so many. That's what I've been doing. You know, get rid of the short ones, keep the bigger ones. Next, anybody?
What's the grouper bite been like in the bay?
It's been good. The soft plastic on a planer, like a big, you know, like a bubba jig, you know, big, you know, just long plastic. Has worked. You know, some people like trolling the plugs. This time of year, there's just same thing. Even that deep water plug, pick up grass and constantly trip on you. So it's more frustrating to work with the plug this time of year than it is, say, in the winter when it's cooler and you don't have all the grass around. If you use a planer with one of those bubba jigs and just troll the shipping channels, I find that to be pretty productive. Some people have, you know, some good rock spots. What I like to do is if I'm trolling somewhere or trolling over some bottom around the skyway, if I hook up, you know, I'll circle right back around and fish that spot just straight down if I have bait, because more than likely there's going to be more than 1 or 2 fish in that spot. So, anybody on a decent snook bite?
No one's gonna talk
He
about
just
it.
clammed up, didn't he? Yeah.
There's a few around.
Yeah. I mean, it's been phenomenal. You know, you can see the snook starting to migrate from the beach now. You know, they're coming back up. I mean, you always have the snook up here that don't, you know, migrate. They don't all migrate out there. You know, they have their comfort zones up here, but I mean, there was a ton of fish on the beach, and you're starting to see them thin out. So I know they're working their way back up here. The trout bite's been good, you know, but my best trout bite's been in about 7 foot of water. So, you know, just fishing the grass flat in 7 foot of water. Slow retrieve on a white bait or artificial, both's been productive, but you just want that just enough to keep it on top of that grass. And yeah, I find that's worked the best. So.
What side of the bay you been catching?
So, go ahead.
What side of the bay you been catching the most of your reds on?
They're everywhere.
Everywhere?
I mean, they really are. You know, Tampa Bay, Wheaton Island's got a school of 300 or more. pick an island in Fort DeSoto area. That's, I mean, they're everywhere. Go, you know, down Piney Point, they're loaded. So, I mean, pick a spot. I know you like fishing back up in here because I see you all the time. But venture out, brother.
I know. Hard to leave.
So, yeah, I mean, just, you know, that's a good thing, good time to work artificial. I mean, you know, sometimes if there's a flat and I'm just out cruising, there's nobody on that flat, I'll buzz the flat. You know, the flats that you can buzz. And then you know, you spook them up. You just get an idea of where fish are sometimes. You know, and then you can say, you know, make note, okay, the fish were there. You buzz them up, come back, let them settle down, and fish them. You know, obviously you don't want to do that if somebody's fishing on that flat, but people do. But you know, just that's a good way. I mean, especially over here, I mean, you have a great opportunity just to get on some monster reds right now. Yeah.
What's your,
Sorry.
what way do you approach, you know, your spots for reds? Because I find you very timid at times, you know? And I see a lot of people, like when I'm fishing out, I'll see a lot of people, they like really approach a spot real hard and stuff.
Well,
So,
I mean, you can get away with it this time of year a little bit because the water's murky, but I mean, really, we have so many fishermen in the bay in St. Pete that the fish seem spooky nonstop anymore. I mean, they just get pressured, and I mean, once somebody sees you on a fit, the next time you go there on those fish, you're gonna have 3 or 4 hooks. But I always, and that's where I comes into taking notes of, you know, I'll just sit back and watch a school of fish, because if somebody comes in there and spooks them, they usually go over here, get comfortable, you know, so they chase them down here, and I'll come and sit right back here because I know they circle back. So it's really just having the patience, and when there's a big crowd, just, you know, kind of wait them out a little bit, unless you see them constantly. If you got 2 or 3 boats pushing them down the shoreline, you're gonna have to either get up in front of them and just wait them out, which I do a lot because I know, you know, they're gonna push them to me. But if I'm on it myself, you can see, you know how reds are. They create that wake, and you can see which direction they're gonna go. But just watch them a little bit as they're, you know, if they're pushing that a good wake, they're not comfortable. I just stay with them, you know, and stay off of them enough to see what the school's doing. Once they settle down, and it's mostly, they'll settle down in the same areas day after day after day until they get worked over. And it's usually a nice, you know, sandy spot. And once they get comfortable, that's when they're really gonna eat. So you may pick one off here and there, but if you wanna be really successful, let them get comfortable, just follow them, don't push them too hard. You should be good. Yeah, go.
I started to ask what size of the trout were.
Catching nice trout, I mean, I'm not catching anything in less than 15 inches, but getting them up to 24, 26, which is nice for this time of year. You know, usually those are the trout you see wintertime, but they've just pushed off into that deeper grass and been really productive. So, I mean, I haven't fished trout underneath 7 foot in 3 months. Yeah.
And what's the temperature about the 85?
Yeah. Well, no, it's still 88 there. I mean, I was fishing a snapper hole the other day. It was, what was that snapper hole? 90?
90.3.
90.3 in 20 foot of water.
It's like a ship power plant.
20 foot of water. 90 degrees, 20 foot of water. Moving water.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's brutal. I mean, fishing is good, but you want to do it early or do it late. I mean, a lot of people, you know, you can be real productive at night too, but a lot of people don't like to fish at night. You know, you're out of your routine. You know, a lot of us are early risers just because we always do it, but I mean, there's different stuff you can do at night too. I mean, if you just looking for fun fishing, black drum at bridges, I mean, there's just a ton of different stuff. There's a little tarpon running all up throughout the bay. I don't know if anybody's interested in catching 30, 40 pound tarpon, but those are the tarpon I care for. I don't need no 150 pound fish.
where do you find those at right now?
Bahia Beach Reef's got a ton of them. You know, towards the power plant, back up in the canals there, they're holding up. I mean, if you get out early, right as that sun starts to crack, you can't miss them. They're just rolling. So, you know, little white baits, they've been tearing them up. I'll use, you know, soft plastic. They hit that. It's just, you know, put it in use light tackle and actually enjoy, you know, enjoy catching the target instead of breaking your back. But, any other?
Saturday marked 2 weeks, we went out and we found a lot of redfish, but the schools we found are all following jacks. Have you been finding that in your areas, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of jacks around, so you got big schools of jacks, and it's just like a big school of mullet. These big schools of jacks on the flat are going to kick up shrimp, little crabs, everything in the grass, so the redfish are going to be right behind them or traveling with them, eating that bait just like a big mullet school would be. So you'll see that, and sometimes you'll think, oh, there's a school of redfish, but it's a school of jacks. So
we found a mix.
Yeah, I
Cast
mean,
in front, you're going to get a jack. You throw it like 10, 20 feet back, you got a chance.
yeah, I mean, it's just like you'll find them mixed in with mullets. It's just that same scenario. There's, I mean, they travel in numbers. Plenty of dolphin out there chasing fish on every flat I see right now. I mean, drives you nuts. You got to keep undersized fish in the well just so they don't kill them all. They're pretty smart. These dolphins get way too used to us boaters. They know it's a food source. So.
It shuts the bite off when the dolphin are around, does it? Or do you find that? No?
No, not really. No, it just the dolphin. The only reason the dolphin will come right on top of you is if you let it fit. I mean, I don't know. They'll cover 75 yards before you blink to grab that fish, and they'll get it too. And because that fish, they can feel that fish vibrating in the water. And as soon as you start reeling it in, they're beelining to you. Sometimes we just bass fishing.
Yeah, I've had them scale my grouper before.
We've had them steal plenty of snook. They're just, we're not even talking about dolphin. Between them eating my nets and killing my snook.
The ones eating your nets are the ones with the T and Mahoney shirts on, right?
Right? Yeah.
Trained dolphins.
We should have stock in that custom net company.
Mike's pet.
Especially Lee. Lee's got like, I don't know, 10. Matter of fact, I got to get my net back from him before it gets holes in it.
Now, let me ask you a question, because it's never happened to me. If you do end up with a porpoise or a dolphin in your net, and that line's around your wrist, I mean, what's the best way that you guys keep it around your wrist? I mean, not saying when the dolphin's in it, but when you throw your net, is it?
I always make a habit, if I'm throwing it to bridge or in deep water, once I toss it, I take it off my wrist. It's just like, it's something you need to practice, whether it gets caught on something, if you fall off and you got that on your wrist and it's caught on something, you're going to be freaking. You got to try to, get it off your wrist. So I do just habit of taking it off.
One of the things I've got is around my tower, I've got those Velcro wristbands.
Yeah.
And right around the end of where the loop is, if I'm throwing in anything more than 12 foot of water, 14 foot of water where there could be them, I put that Velcro wristband through the loop and on my wrist. So if you get caught or it gets caught or whatever, that Velcro, you just pop that Velcro and see it.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
You didn't give me that when I was throwing off your boat.
I was a beneficiary on your insurance too, by the way.
What's the beaky razor for?
Try to get him on a sabiki when he's in? Oh, no.
Rarely do you get a dolphin in your net. I mean, I've come close to getting a manatee, but yeah, and kind of bounce the legs off of them. Because, they just sit back there dumb. And
If they do grab it, let it go, though. Don't fight them, because that's when they're ready.
yeah. Like if you're at a bridge and you're pulling it up, you feel that dolphin grab your net, just take the tension off, because otherwise you'll turn a hole that big into a hole you can walk through, because they'll just it's ridiculous now. They'll hit your net just to hit your net. They're not even a piece of bait in it. I mean, it's like, oh, there's got to be bait in there somewhere, and they just rip a hole in ours. They just like making fun of us. But so yeah, like Lee said, just let the tension off. As soon as they feel the resistance gone, they usually let go of it. Pull it up as fast as you can. But that's that's getting bait around the piers. We're bound to deal with the dolphins at some point. So,
You said the bait's pretty good out there right now?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the nicer bait's starting to move to the flats we're seeing. You know, it's not, I don't think it's made its way all the way up here to the flats. A lot of the fry bait's still on the flats up here, but, you know, down, you know, towards St. Pete and stuff, you get some nicer baits that's moved up on the flats. And, you know, it's only a matter of time before it's, you know, it's going to move all the way up here. It took a little longer this year to get up in the bay for some reason, I don't know. And, but now it's pretty much everywhere. So, and like I said, if you can get away with using a lot of cut bait just because it's so hot. I know it's buoyant at times, you know, but if you like throwing artificial and you put a piece of cut bait, stick it in a rod holder. That rod holder catches a lot of fish. You know, sit it in there, start working some artificial, you know, and then, you know, once it goes off, just leave your drag loose. Go back and hammer them. You know, I always, this time of year too, I'm starting to put it in play unless I'm fishing docks or somewhere where I can get tangled. I've downsized everything. You know, gone to smaller braid, 10 pound, 10, 12 to 15 pound on the leader in a small so you can get away with. You know, you're increasing your hookups a lot, and you don't have to have you know, as long as you don't have anything to contend with that they can get you in trouble, just loosen up the drag a little bit and you'll catch a lot more fish. So.
Are you fishing mostly out on the flats chasing the schools, or are you in the back country?
No, I'm not even going nowhere near backcountry right now.
On the back country?
It's just too hot, man. There's no breeze. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere near backcountry. Bet you're out, man.
I like back country.
I know. Dude, you got all those nice months coming up. Now move out here where you can enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Not sweat to death, you know?
If you're gonna find a breeze, that's where you're gonna find it, is out here.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you got, you know, six months out of the year to fish backcountry, if not more. But August, I don't know, that's not a good month to fish backcountry to me. I mean, you may pick a fish off here and there, but not enough to make me go back there. So, yeah, I mean, it's good, dude. You got, like I said, down this whole shoreline, you got some nice trout. I know you love redfish, and there are plenty of redfish. Just, you know, if you get a chance, just get up and down it. I know you're busy, but, you know, I mean, do you ever get down to Joe's Island?
Yeah.
I mean, start Joe's
There's no fish.
and work your way back.
There's no fish at Joe's here. No fish down yonder.
I saw you pause, so I said somebody must be doing something.
Yeah, I got the looks.
Flare gun.
So, but I mean, down there you have such good water movement, so that's why you know, a lot of fish stay down there. And even out in the flat in front of Bishop's, I mean, that whole flat is great for trout. So it's nice trout too. I mean, you can pick up, you know, if you have kids, you can pick up, you know, sharks and stuff too. Make it, you know.
How is your shark bite? I mean, do you do any shark trips at all?
As a matter of fact, I did a shark trip today, which, you know, I wouldn't mind doing more just because they're everywhere this time of year. But of course, you know, the one time you want to target sharks in the bay, you think you catch a shark? I mean, we did, but I had to cover some ground to do it. Ended up getting them in Port Manatee. You know, we got a hammerhead, and some sand sharks, and a couple black tips. But, you know, all my normal spots on the flat where it's loaded with blues and jacks and everything, you put a couple baits out there, like you're watching paint dry. Any other time on light tackle, catch the biggest shark you want. You go after them, forget it. So, but yeah, I mean, summertime in the bays, there's a lot of sharks in the bay. They just come up here to breed. So usually it's not a problem. And it's fun. Something different. You know, if somebody wants to catch I mean, like a hammerhead today. I mean, you don't catch hammerheads too often, so it's nice to get one of those on the line every once in a while. Bull sharks, I mean, I've seen enough of them from tarpon season, so you know, they're everywhere. But those sand sharks are everywhere. They're fun. Light tackle, little spinners. That's fun for kids. Stuff like that.
What's the best tide if you're going snapper fishing? Which tide is better? Because I know, like this time of year, hang up trying to anchor anywhere because it's all the wind and the tide are always opposite.
Right.
It never ever works out during the summertime. So what tide
as long as that water's moving, incoming or outgoing, I mean, it's been just as productive. So, I mean, I'm catching just as many, like, there's really not, one's not, hasn't been better than another. It's been that good. There's just so many snappers. Like I said, it's been probably 5 years since I've seen a snapper bite like it has this year.
Now, have you guys put any stock into that report about that big patch of red tide that's moving this way? That they took an aerial shot from an airplane and they posted on every website and everything you see. I mean, is it really moving this way and is it really that
Moving
big?
south right now.
What's that?
It is moving south right now.
Yeah, I mean,
We got all these prevailing
it's-
west winds we got going on right now, you know. Well, we need right now the tropical storm to come through here.
yeah, we
It's
need,
supposed to go
and we
that
need the wind to get back to the normal pattern.
See, Jeremy got an east wind.
We normally, we're getting all those storms early, and coming, I mean, the first thing in the morning, coming out of the west. You know, and it's been like that for the past couple of years, you know, July, August, we've had early rain on the water instead of that east push like we normally do. And I think if we could at least get the east wind back, we'd be in a good situation. You know, I'll take more stock into whether it comes in here, hopefully it doesn't. I don't like to talk about it, just jinx it. But, you know, as it gets closer, you just have to keep an eye on it. As long as if we can get some solid rain, and if it stays solid rain out there, maybe to, help break it up, but still too early to say whether it's going to affect us or not. So, anybody got any questions on tackle? No.
What is your your choice?
If I'm fishing redfish, I usually like, a long, anywhere from 7.6 to 8 foot rod. I want to make as long a cast as possible I can at these fish, just because they are. I mean, there's no secret. Once a school of redfish shows up, the secret's out. I mean, there's too many good fishing blogs around. There's a lot of good fishermen in the bay, and they love to share their knowledge for some reason. Yeah, their secret spots. Ooh, or nobody knows how to Photoshop any pictures, I guess. But
Maybe they're calling that 866 Gamefish Hotline. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, straight to Mike's radio. But no, so those fish they're good. I mean, all of our redfish schools, unless it's a new school that moves in, and usually those new schools don't eat very well anyways. They got to get, they just coming in, and they get once they get comfortable, then they'll eat real good, and then they'll get spooky. So I always like to make as long a cast, pretty much of anything, lures, as long as cast as possible. Just let those fish be comfortable. That way you can get more than one out of it. But if I'm fishing backcountry, docks, obviously a shorter pole, something you can flip, skip, because a lot of times, especially this time of year with the high tide, they're way up under. So you really want to be able to skip it up under mangrove, skip it up under a dock.
What size reel do you like to use?
3 or 4,000. So it really just depends on what I do. If I need more line, obviously if I'm making long casts, I want a reel that's going to hold more line. Doesn't matter too much if you're just you need 50-yard cast here or there. It's not that big of a deal. So.
You said you use like a 15-pound leader. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
12 to 15 pound. What length leader do you use?
I usually, with my clients, I start off with like 4 foot, and so I can work it down. Because you constantly every time. But you can. I would always stick with like a 3 foot leader. And you can get away with shorter this time of year because the water's dark. Obviously, when it's the algae and the water's cooler, a little longer leader is going to help out because they can see that break.
You use fluorocarbon or?
Yep.
What kind of rod do you use for skipping docks?
That's a little like still
6 foot or?
no 7 foot. Yeah, 6 foot's too short for it. You can probably get away with it. You're just not going to get much leverage on a fish. So 7 foot, medium heavy because you want to be able to pull them out. A lot of key too is probably some pretty good anglers in here. you know, once you hook a big fish, you know, if he's getting you up in there sometimes, and you know, you have your drag looser than you probably wanted it because you didn't think you were going to catch that big of a fish, if you just slowly, you know, like break that, palm that reel, well, sometimes just don't grab it tight because it's going to pop. You know, just try to, you know, use your hand acting like a drag, and use that initial pressure, that fish will turn, and just kind of direct them where you want out of it, and that can save a lot of fish for you. So try that sometimes. If you don't do it, you know, and you feel like you're getting in trouble, oh man, my drag's too loose, I don't have time to tighten it because it's already got me in the dock. Just slowly palm it, you know, try to do a manual drag and get them to turn. So.
Michael, how competitive are you with your father?
I mean, I'm too good anymore. So how competitive am I with my dad? I said I'm too good anymore. No, it's always competition. You know, I let him win every once in a while. But,
No, you don't.
I know the feeling.
Right after Captain Bell died, and Anderson got the gig, your dad was on with him, and it might have been one of the first two after Bell died. And I called in. He'd said something about, you know, you all being competitive, and he wanted you all to be competitive. And I called in and said, yeah, I got 3 sons. I said, I've made them competitive. I said, in our house, a spelling bee is a blood sport. And your dad said, well, I don't know that it needs to be that bad, Steve. And Anderson goes, wait a minute. What you need to understand, Woody, if you were at a tournament and you saw he and his sons in the back corner at the weigh-in, you know that you can go back there, turn them around, and on the back of their T-shirt it says Team Knuckle. And that's where that came from.
yeah. So, you know, my dad never gives up the front of the boat, no matter whose boat it is. He's the front of the boat. You know, I'm netting them, I'm working the trolling motor, I'm power pulling down, so, you know, he looks for all the advantages.
That's the problem now, is that when we all 4 of us on the boat, we've got 4 guys and everybody's trying to be in charge. We don't get shit done. And all 4 of us are trying, and we end up getting in a fight. Somebody will get mad at somebody and it ends up into a daggone brawl because somebody wants to be the smarter or the more intelligent, or no, we need to fish here, no, we need to fish there. It's like when I fish tournaments with Dad, I have a plan in my head and I want to stick to it. Dad goes, well, let's go over here, or I'm like, no, I got planned in my head that no, we're going here, we're staying here, and it's always someone's trying to sit there and outdo somebody.
That's why I only fish with my dad. I don't fish with my dad and my brother. All 3 of us don't mix. It's either one or the other, we're fine. Except my dad and my brother, they just can't fish together. They're like twins. Both of them's opinions matter.
Yep.
I'm more easy. I'm just like, whatever, dude. Where you want me to go?
I wish we were like that, but no. You got Jay-Z's about close to 300 pounds and about 5'11". I'm 6'1", and you throw a Marine in the mix. It gets competitive. I saw it to a point one time where Jack and Jay-Z were sitting there arguing who could throw a cast net better. And Jack got so mad that Jack took the cast net, and when we went to throw it, Jack fell. And when I say fell, like he hit the deck of the boat and almost rolled off the side of the boat. And it wasn't trying to help him, it was laughing our asses off. And sitting there going, that's what you get. But yeah, I get it.
Well, you will never see me arguing about throwing that. Hey, if you throw it better, go ahead.
Oh, that's why I was sitting there.
Y'all want to throw it, man, you throw it better all day long. I don't care. So, yeah.
What size net you throw?
12 foot.
12 foot.
Yeah. So.
That's the risk.
Let him throw it.
Yeah. He's the driver, I'm the thrower.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's really good?
Well, that's because Lee's planned it out. He'll throw bananas and kidneys. And I know he can throw the net. But he does it until I'm like, dude, just let me throw the net. Yeah, he's like, oh, all right. Yeah. Until I saw him the other day when he was by himself and I was by myself and he opened it up perfect. I'm like, busted.
Secret's out.
Secret's out. So, but it's always good to team up.
For a while, yeah.
No, it's good to have somebody you can work with, especially if you're throwing at the bridge or a pier. It's so much easier with 2 people. One can drive, one can throw. You know, anchoring up, doing all that stuff. a lot more. Or especially if you're just trying to drift up there as a person and throw the net back out. That's always fun.
Since our passion is fishing, and probably most of us in here decompress by fishing, and you do it for a living, what's your decompression hobby?
Being on the water. I mean, you know, I've watched people catch fish all the time, which, I mean, I get just as excited as watching somebody catch a fish, you know, as me catching a fish because it's the first time they've done it, or it's a fish bigger than they've ever caught, and, you know, that's just as exciting to me. Sometimes I get more excited because I'm like, dude, that's the biggest snook you've ever seen. But remember that one guy? I had to beg the guy to, it was a 25-pound snook right back here, and he's up in the front of the boat, and he was fishing next to me. He's like, and it went in front of his boat, and he's like, I see his eyes getting huge, and he's like, dude, that's a big snook. And the guy's up front just, he was on, you know, it was one of those business trips, and he didn't really care. He says, well, I'm like, come to the back of the boat, because the power poles are down, the engine's back there. Come to the back of the boat, here comes the fish. Come to the back of the boat. Please come into the back of the boat. Lee jumps on my boat, pushes him down. I'm going to the net. I'm like, man, if that fish would have got away. That was the case of like 15-pound leader on a monster snook, and I'm like, oh no. Of course, he was, you know, because I was trying different leaders that day because, you know, we've been fishing the same area a few days, and, you know, the bite had slowed, so I bumped down my tackle. And of course, you know, the biggest snook gets on the lightest rod. So, but it's always an adventure out there.
That's where we saw him at, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where we saw
him. He was back there.
On that spot he's talking about, we fished that spot.
So I missed that snook is what you're trying to tell me?
I saw you over there
They took your snook.
catching that fish, so I think you might not have been looking.
No.
You probably would have heard the screaming though.
I was honed in on redfish.
Yeah. So.
But
No, I mean,
when the season opens, then I'll chase them.
yeah.
Then it makes it game.
Season opens when for snow? September again? First weekend in September? Or September 1st?
September 1st.
It's so hard to keep up with anymore. What's open, what's not, what's closed, what size. But, I mean, there was a lot of big snook this year. I mean,
Oh yeah, Dad and I saw Lee hooking the one for that one voice tournament.
Yeah,
We did.
Yeah, she won the women's division.
Oh, I remember seeing y'all. Yeah. I know that.
It was
day.
great because I know
Yeah.
Mike called me up. He went to that spot. Mike, you need to get over here. I said, man, we only got 15 minutes left. He goes, dude, you need to come now. Hauled butt over there, pulled in, first cast, 38-inch snook. Woman won the tournament. We pulled out.
Yeah, you know it's bad when you're sitting there and you catch a 25, 26-inch snook. You go, nah, that's too small. Get off the hook. Get back out there. Get back out there. You just pulling these monsters in. It was crazy.
yeah, March and April over here was crazy for big snook this year. I think every big snook on this side of the bay came to this area because
That was the most I ever seen.
yeah,
Period.
most ever seen caught big snook. I mean, it was a good year for snook, and I mean I let the majority of them go, but so, you know, if a client really wanted to keep one, I did, but you know, that's up to them. So, but nah, I mean fishing, watching people catch fish, that's just being out on the water. I still love it. So, I mean, you grow up here, that's what you do, you know.
Yeah.
As a little kid, Dad pulling you around in an inner tube while he's wading, fishing, and that's all you know. That's what you stick with. So.
Yeah, the only pulling around the inner tube my dad did with us was in a Nanticoke River, and Dad would try to sling us as close to the docks as possible.
You still couldn't get rid of him.
Yeah.
No, this was crazy. I'll tell you this, Lee. My baby brother's sitting in